going on, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the Tuesday Track Talk, episode number 108, with your Three Stones pit crew. We're down a man today,
Yep.
uh, but I am your Tire Junior Cam.
Me, Jack Mankel.
And even though we're down a man today, he had some other things that he's got to take care of outside of this. So we're gonna man the ship, but we got plenty to talk about. We're
Yep.
gonna talk about some USAC midgets at Placerville. We're gonna talk some dirt late models with FloRacing at Sonoya. We're gonna get into our, I think, our first off-season topic. We're gonna talk about a little bit of fights and rivalries. We'll kind of see where that discussion goes. As always, we'll cover the news and look ahead to what racing's coming up this weekend. So, what's going on since we last met up with each other?
Um, it's the middle of November and it's really not that cold, so I can't really complain too much,
Yeah,
honestly. Like, we don't have any snow, it's not bitter cold. Um, I don't know. I'm feeling like that's kind of a blessing right now for this time of year.
fair enough. I sent you some pictures, but I got some things taken care of. We're down here in the old man cave down here. I got a couple of posters framed up and good to go. I'll bring them up here on the old telephone because they're not gonna show up otherwise. So I ended up getting a that World of Outlaws poster with all the trading cards.
Yep.
I got all those signed and I got that framed up. I got some card, I guess they call them top loaders for a couple of Bill Baylor trading cards that I got.
Oh, nice. Yep.
And then this one was the one that I sent you that you really liked. Got the old pit crew card.
Oh, yeah, from the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
put that at a top loader as well. So no, that's I just took care of those couple of things. Been I'll deal with that later. Um got to watch some racing this week, but otherwise, yeah, just thinking ahead as far as what we could do as well. So,
Yeah, for sure.
but should we talk about some racing?
We always do. Every week, we might as well.
All right. So I don't know how I think we're gonna start with USAC here. I don't know how much of the race that you got to watch on Saturday night. I know you were watching the flow race mainly.
Yeah, I didn't get to see much of the midget race.
I sent you kind of clips here and there that got you the gist of kind of what happened. Um,
Yeah.
I tell you what though, first off, 100 lap midget race is a long race. And when you know you're going to have
Yeah.
a planned open red just to refuel, that's a long race.
Correct.
Um, Hell of a track. It was a hell of a race. Um, First half of that race was very, very competitive. Kyle Larson, Corey Day, Buddy Colfoyd were going at it with each other pretty much. Um, Jason Persley was up there as well, which we'll get into two of those here in a bit. But there was a stretch where fighting for the lead was getting really entertaining going through lap traffic as well. Um, we had some pretty long green flag stretches. Um, had a couple of quick yellows come up, but the racing product itself for that first, I'm going to say 3/4 of that race was really entertaining.
For sure.
Probably one of the better midget races so far on the air. Couple of the highlights, Corey Day, he went for a hell of a ride.
That I did see in the highlights. Yeah, that was pretty wicked. Um, yeah, it's one of those, if you're Mr. H, you're going, hey.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And that was one of those like they were all either on that front nose or that back tank, and they were just solid hard hits as that car
and
was flipping over. There was no give at all.
yeah, uh, end for end, just nose to tail, one
Yeah,
after another. So,
yeah. He was a little ginger getting out of that car,
yep,
um, but he got out of that car thankfully. Um,
correct.
so that
Yep.
took him out, and he wrecked from second too. So that took out a very very strong contender uh, in that race. Um, There was a couple pileups there as well. Carson Macedo ended up getting piled up in one of them. He was starting to come on pretty good. Um, Sneakily good in the midget. He doesn't run it really often. This time of year is when he runs it. He's sneakily good in a midget car.
Yep.
Um, but then the other one that came up was I think the big storyline coming out of this. Dason Persley and Kyle Larson. So Kyle Larson took the lead. I don't know, about halfway through without, just jogging my memory. Strong car. He ended up having to come through the B main. He started 11th, if I remember right, maybe 17th. Either way, he started pretty far back, worked his way up and got up front, and he was going to be a force to be reckoned with if he wasn't going to be able to um, get challenged. But as we got to the point, Dason personally ended up coming through the field, um, made his way up there, and he went to throw a slider, hit the berm in the bottom, and just slid right up into Larson's tire and sent him off the track.
Yep.
Which I sent you that video. Obviously, everybody's got their opinions. The fans made their opinions well known. Um,
Yeah. It was widely known what they thought of that move when he crawled out of the race car.
yeah. So again, I don't know what you thought about that. If to me, I thought that was a racing move that just didn't work out.
Yeah.
I thought that was purely a racing deal.
Yeah. It looks more gross than what it is, and you watch it back a few times and you're like, I can kind of see where he's coming from.
Yeah, like I didn't see it initially, but after watching a replay a little bit closer, I definitely saw him where he hit that berm and it just sent him up the track.
Yeah, for sure.
So sucks for Larson because again, he was having a great run. I felt like them two, if they stayed like that, they were going to put on a hell of a show, fighting for the lead, and it just,
Yeah, for sure. The funny part is he gets out of the car in victory lane, and well, I don't know if you noticed or caught this, but on the top right corner of the check, what was it? What was one of the sponsors?
Kyle Larson shop.
Yeah, shopkylelarson.com. I'm like,
Yep.
classic, absolutely classic.
Well, if I remember right, I think the reason he was on there is because Larson was a co-promoter for that race,
Yep,
which is why that was on there.
yep, for sure.
So yeah, we talked about coincidences,
Correct.
but no, I mean and obviously Jason Persley. I saw Dirt Tracker made this comment today too, where obviously Jason Persley's running that Case Kane car next year for high limit,
Yep,
and obviously Larson's going to run a lot of high limit shows next year, and drivers never forget, right?
yep, yep, for sure.
So be interesting to see how that plays out, if it plays out at all. But the thing is that I'm sure Larson and Paul Silva, first off, hell of a deadly combination on a midget car. Um,
Yep,
but I'm sure they're definitely going to get that car ready to go for, as I just see now, Thunder Bowl, as Wednesday's race got rained out. Um,
yep,
but they will be ready to go, and obviously again, this is all in preparation for not only the end of the USAC season, but for um, Chili Bowl coming up in January as well. So,
absolutely.
so, um, yeah, Dason Persley ends up nabbing the win on that one. Give me a hot minute, I can give you the full rundown as far as what that was. Maybe, maybe not.
Uh-oh.
Oh, something's not working for me.
Well, we do know Jason Person won the race. That
We do
is,
know Dason Persley won the race, correct? Um, yep, nope, it's not working for me. So we'll deal with that later. Um, no, again, a lot of good start, good cars there. Guys getting familiar with everything. Looking forward to what will be the rest of the USAC season coming up this week. And then obviously Chili Bowl as we go on into January as well. So
yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see what comes of that.
yeah. So uh Guess we'll jump into FloRacing at Sonoya here, and this is as we go on here. This is where part of our off-season conversation is going to come into play. Um, but first initial thoughts, and I think me and you both agreed with this. Loved the driver intros. Auto cars on the front stretch.
Yep. Yeah, it was kind of for us. It gives us that Midwest tour feel,
Yep,
which is something we're accustomed to. So, um, that was kind of a cool little touch, and we talked about that a little bit. Bubba Pollard being involved in a part of that. Kind of the national ASA Stars national tour type intro, as they kind of do the same thing as well. So
yep,
yeah, it kind of had a little bit of an at home feeling, before the race even started. So that was cool.
yep.
So I don't know. Sonoya always puts on good racing. Track is
Kind
just
of a
very
hidden gem.
unique. Yeah, it's unique. It's a hidden gem. I think that's a good way to describe it. It's a tough place.
Yep,
It's a tough place to race, but it's one of those tracks that it's going to slick off, and you got to be ready for it. It's just a matter of how soon it does it. So, um, yeah, into no avail. We got lots of storylines out of Saturday night.
yep. Of note of that, obviously Bobby Pierce, kind of on a bit of a struggle bus here as of late, having to come in through the B main on that one. Obviously, as your
Yep.
championship leader, both on Friday night and Saturday night with that points championship going on. That was obviously the big discussion, but having to work his way up.
Yeah, and he did, and then had to go to the back, and then charge his way to the front again.
Yep.
Tried to. Um, Man, the 49 just putting an absolute stamp on the regular season for the dirt late models.
Oh man,
Let's
absolutely.
That might be a hey, we didn't win a Lucas Oil title or we didn't win a FloRacing in America title, but it's hi, hello. I have not forgotten how to drive, and this car is still really, really good.
Yep.
So um just put it to them all weekend, to be honest. Like,
Yep. And on a stretch too, obviously coming off a World Finals weekend two up in Charlotte.
yep, yeah. That team is everyone else is probably lucky it's the end of the season, or
Correct.
everyone would be chasing the 49 the rest of the year. But no, I don't know. I mean, and you get into the race, and I mean, in reality, it's the conversation around Bobby Pierce.
Yep. Um, before I guess we could jump into it now. I was gonna say, obviously, there were a couple guys like Mike Marlar. He had his issues early on in that race that put him out. Tim McCready had some issues as well. Um,
Yeah.
obviously, you had you guys that kind of had issues early on, but yeah, obviously the big storyline that came out of that was the Bobby Pierce and Brandon Overton deal, which looking at replays, could you go either way with it? Absolutely. I think it just depends on what you interpret as right and wrong.
Yeah, it's that conversation. And let's also not forget that Bobby Pierce and Devin Moran got together earlier in the weekend. So, is there a common denominator there? Yes. I take that for what you think it's worth.
Yep.
Um, I don't know. And I think when you look at how the entire situation played out, I think the worst of all of that is the race cars that were wrecked. The race cars that were wrecked inadvertently for Overton sitting at the top of the racetrack.
Yep.
That was the part that I was like, I didn't love that.
Now, I could come in and say too, like, even regardless of what happened, let's just say Overton has his own issues, that same scenario could still play out.
Correct. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, looking back on it, you could obviously see the way the quarter and the rear of that door was pulled and wrinkled and all kind of mangled up on the 32. obviously we need to believe that that was a large part of the issues for Overton, but um, I kind of wonder a little bit is that frustration coming from the 76 camp part of maybe they didn't run as well as they would hope to this year?
I could definitely see that. Um,
And I'm not going to say that's the sole reason that he just needed the one thing to flip his lid, but I would venture to say that that certainly isn't helping the case.
no, 100%. And, it all depends on the replay that you see as well. Do you see the entire story as far as what happened? We all just see that moment before Overton goes into the wall and they kind of touch each other.
Yep.
And, was there something else that maybe stemmed from that as well? Like the replay I'm looking at here. So in 3 and 4, yeah, Overton kind of comes down on, or Pierce comes down on Overton a little bit, right? And then he has his flat tire going into there. But does that stem from something else that happened earlier in the race or earlier in the season too?
Correct.
Who knows? So then we have, as I just saw at the end of the replay here, the helmet throw
Yeah.
into the
Uh,
side. And then obviously Pierce comes in because he had his flat tire or needed to make repairs and that whole fiasco in the pits.
yeah, the helmet throw, spot on. I mean, Overton eyed that one up and he released that helmet, and that was pow right between the three and the two. Like
Yep.
he could not have hit that any better. A hell of a toss. But you know what I think when I look at what this kind of what's now a rival, I don't know, call it a rivalry, I guess, for the time being. Um, when you look at the scenario, it goes back to the adage of let's leave the crews out of it and let's let the drivers handle it.
Yep.
Like
Like,
that's the part that it's like he comes down a hot bit. Of course, the media is going to flood that, and the crews are going to flood that, and it's like let's keep them out of it, and let's let the drivers settle it and decide how this wants to be handled.
yeah, and there's two things I think that happened, both in pretty much the same time that did not help this situation at all. One, the fans or the non Bobby Pierce or media personnel that were around the Pierce car as it was getting worked on. There were a lot of people around that race car that did not need to be around that race car.
Correct, and that's kind of where I kind of have a little bit more of an issue with that is it's like what why do we need to do that to
A car that's still trying to get out to the racetrack and race.
yeah, correct, right? Like let's just stay out of there. Like let's let those guys work on the race car and let's let the yeah, I don't know. That's part that just kind of bothers me a little
Yep.
bit.
And Earl on the broadcast, the pit report also mentioned too, he's like, there are a lot of fans down here that do not need to be around this race car right now.
Correct.
So that didn't
It's
help the issue.
yeah.
And
That
then
was
like
one.
and then like you said, like Pierce is still in the car. Crew guys are working on the car. Like Overton's guys are coming up to him while he's working on the car and just now you're interrupting their work. Yes, you could be mad at them because of what ultimately caused that damage. But they're still an active competitor in the race. You leave them alone until after the races are done.
Yeah, for sure. And that's part of the struggle with this is like why we got to do this, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. And this is the part that we I think talk about this in terms of rivalries, right? We talk about this all the time and I think for us now kind of looking back on how the season's played out with the Cup Series and NASCAR, you're not going to get this anymore in the Cup Series.
No, and So we were talking about this earlier, and the point that I bring up, especially with NASCAR, is it why they've got security around drivers when stuff goes down is because it's a liability thing, which I don't know what that liability is. I'm not a lawyer to know what it could be, but that's at least the understanding that I was given, which for me as a driver would be frustrating because if I want to voice my displeasure to a guy, I could yell at him at the track. I could go off on social media, which, right, you're hiding behind a keyboard.
Yep.
Or I go and wreck a race car out on the track, and depending on the driver, some more than others,
Yep.
don't like wrecking other people's stuff because that's just not what you do, right?
Yeah.
What the guys at the shop have nothing to do with what happened at the track. And again,
Yeah.
it's a driver on driver issue. And you know what? If I'm gonna have an issue with a guy, I want to settle it with him. And how many times have I said that a guy needs a good pop in the nose in order to learn a lesson?
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I it's like they're not letting them have that opportunity. Like if I'm one of those drivers, I'm going to NASCAR's hauler and I am MFing them as much as I can because I'm saying, so you're not gonna let me argue. You can't let me argue with a guy. I don't want to wreck a car because I'm not gonna make others, you know, have to work in order to fix this car. So you're gonna make
Yep.
me hide behind social media, which gets a whole nother interpretation. So what are you gonna let me do in order to fix this problem?
Well, yeah, see, that's my thing is like I have a hard time with that. It's like, well, it's just you're in a spot of like, why do we this is why this storyline is just so intriguing because now it's like all I can hope is that those two end up on the racetrack at the same time at the dome.
Yep,
And anybody that follows dirt late model racing closely is praying to God for the same scenario.
yep. And I think, and I forget the gentleman's name, but whoever is pretty much the promoter of the Dome
Yep.
Gateway Dirt Nationals, he is hoping that it doesn't tear down a ton of their fencing
Correct.
with
Yeah.
whatever happens.
Yeah. So I just, and it's part of the conversation around these guys in terms of like what's going on in the rivalries and series. Like it just creates so much more intrigue. Where it's like, yeah, in the last couple of years, like at least last year, year and a half, Carson Hocevar, for example, is somebody that's created a lot of animosity to a certain degree, but like really isn't anyone that's going to get out and sock them because at the end of the day, they don't. The guys know that. Oh, well, on Monday morning, NASCAR is going to send me a bill for 75 grand.
Yep,
So they're gonna say in their interviews, man, I'm really frustrated, and he's going to get one. And but you can't hook him because you get to sit out.
yep,
So your choices are to miss races and or get out your checkbook for that 75 grand.
yep. And let
And
NASCAR promote you fighting for their stuff.
so at the end of the day, the intrigue to them apparently is not enough to try to rectify the situation for said actions on the racetrack.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like at the end of the races, when you know guys are frustrated, at least on the Cup Series side of things, you don't even expect it anymore.
No, it's,
You just
yeah,
know guys are going to get in front of the camera and they're going to be pissed off, mad, and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, they're not going to swing.
they're handcuffed, essentially.
Correct. So I don't know. It adds more intrigue to the sport. And again, I am certainly not promoting the idea of after every race we got to get out and someone's got to get. I'm going to say this nicely, get their ass beat.
Correct. Yep.
But
If the situation warrants it,
the situation warrants it, or you got to go in there and you got to get up in somebody's grill and grab them by the collar a time or two. Maybe that's what needs to be done.
give me a good old fashioned Kevin Harvick and Greg Biffle confrontation at Bristol.
Of course.
Harvick jumps over that car to grab Biffle by the collar and give me one of those.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah,
let a guy put a fear of God of somebody into somebody.
correct. And that's just part of like, it's just part of it that it's just like, why do we need to, yeah.
Now, so the other thing with this, and we've seen this play out in a particular series, not not up by us, right? And I think
Yep.
you know where I'm going with this, where we've seen altercations happen outside of that. And again, it's pit crew members are involved or families even involved. And you
Yep.
never see the drivers get involved with each other because the crews are going at it before the drivers can even talk to each other.
Yep.
And again, it's like the drivers are the ones that had the issue. If the drivers get into it, they get into it. And you don't get any more than that.
Yeah. And looking at the crew side of things, do I understand that these people that this is their livelihood and they're invested in their guy and they support their
100%.
guy? I I 100% have your back on that as well. I can get behind that and I can be supportive of that premise. Um, I just yeah, I
But
think
I'm the guy that's going to roll up behind my driver when he goes to confront your driver.
yep, I'm gonna be behind him. Um, but you just can't be the first one.
Correct.
So I don't know. It's just that's the part of it now with um, especially the national series with NASCARs. You don't have that anymore. You have the guy that's gonna walk down and yell and drop a few f bombs, and but that's he's gonna walk away, and that's gonna be the end of it.
Yeah.
Um, and I think when you look at these, at least on the dirt late model side of things, and it's kind of similar in the Cup Series in this sense of are some of these personalities and characters going to be there for a while? Absolutely. Because
Absolutely.
you're going to tell me Brandon Bobby Pierce is going to quit driving dirt late models?
No.
You're crazy. So I think having those characters around to have those storylines builds intrigue. It could potentially reach a portion of a fan base that you don't already have. Um, but having them around for longer periods of time creates that ebb and flow of these two are going to be pissed off at each other at the dome. Well, come speed weeks in February, for all we know, they might park next to each other.
Yep.
You don't know how that's going to play out, and those are kind of the intrigue of what that could potentially look like in following that relationship.
And that's how I think you get the different rivalries that go on too. Now, given there are different stages of those rivalries, like, we could say right now a lot of the rivalries are media driven, where like, all right, David Gravel versus Rico Abreu, like, yeah, that's a rivalry, but they're also two of the top guys that just have a ton of respect for each other. Um, you could say the same thing for Bobby Pierce and Jonathan Davenport, like two of the top guys that, it's a rivalry because they're two of the top guys, but they don't have any bad beef against each other.
Yeah,
And then you get
for sure.
those other ones where, yeah, there is bad beef against these guys and they just plain out don't like each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And I think when you look at the actual fighting side of things with drivers, I don't does some of it create intrigue and storylines? Yes. We also don't need it every single event.
Correct.
There's got to be a fine line. And I think when you look at the Cup Series side of things, maybe there's some type of tier that follows this. Here's tier 1, 2, and 3, or tiers 1 and 2. You do this the first time, here's what happens.
Sure.
You do this the second time, here's what happens. The third time, you get a vacation. I don't know. Maybe.
Or it's all right, if the severity of it, all right, if it is driver on driver, you're on probation, right?
Yep.
Hey, we're keeping an eye on you guys. If it's a all right, if it's a driver and crew, okay, there's going to be some fines handed out, and depending on severity of the fight, maybe some suspensions. If it's just a crew on crew with no drivers involved, okay, now it's a whole different penalty. Like,
And then you had the layer of not even the crews and drivers, but then you had the layers of officials, right?
yep,
You have to officials will get involved to a certain degree in any series, of course. But then you start to add them into the equation of okay, this is what this looks like. As soon as an official's involved, here's here's what's going to happen. Lay it all out there, and then you just know.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think NASCAR has put a damper on a lot of that, and I think it, to a certain degree, hurts them because
Yeah.
you do need some of it, but we also don't need to be known as the group that we're going to fight 36 races of the drivers are going to fight every weekend of the year.
Correct. But I think that's also you get those guys that are like, all right, I you don't mess with him because he's going to get up in your face as well.
Yep,
So you get the guys that you know who you can race hard but are going to respect it, or the guys that if you screw up, then you're going to hear from them about it.
correct,
But that's
for
the
sure.
other thing too with some of those guys. Like, all right, depending on what happens, you have to gauge your reaction on that. I think a good example of this was Kyle Larson and Blaney at St. Louis this year,
Yep,
where Larson just completely misjudged it, spun Blaney out, and Blaney after the race respected his media obligations, like waited for him, and then finally jumped in and said, "Hey, I need to talk to him," and they had their
yep,
conversation.
yep, for sure.
So not overreacting to a situation.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I don't know. It just creates storylines. It creates intrigue. It creates a lot. Um, it can create a lot of interest. I think
And
is the way I
you
would
hate to throw
describe
this
it.
word around in racing because it could get taken in so many different ways, but it's entertainment, right?
Yeah, of course,
Hey, these guys had a fight or they disagreed with each other. How are they going to handle it this week? I'm going to tune in
correct.
because I am
And
entertained
to a
about
certain
how it's going to
degree,
happen.
are
It is an entertainment business,
on the NASCAR side of things. Absolutely, of
but we enjoy entertainment that evolves from the product.
course, which comes from race cars.
Yes. Naturally developing entertainment, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it. But yes, and that's where it's a little less on the short track scene. It's not. Is it entertainment? Yes, of course. It, is it a little bit different in nature? Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, you don't want everything to be exactly the same because if everything is exactly the same, we're all just robots then, right?
Right.
So you got to have those different storylines and developments while also um, nurturing some type of interest of not only your current fans but those that maybe are looking but not sure on it just yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just kind of wild. The whole thing is wild.
Yeah. And it's just, again, we'll see how these develop over time. And shame on me, I didn't get to hear any of the interviews. I obviously Pierce, he had a little bit to say about it, but I'd like to hear what they had to discuss afterwards, maybe after they cooled their heads and had a discussion afterwards. But I guess
Yeah.
we won't find out till the dome.
Yep. And I think everybody is going to be licking their chops when those two cars roll out on the racetrack.
Yep.
So we'll see. This is only one way to find out.
Yeah. Tune in.
Absolutely.
So, um, anything else that you want to add onto the fights and or rivalries?
No,
You
I don't know.
know,
I just felt like it was a good kind of interjection to be able to have the conversation about this, a little bit and talk about what that kind of looks like in terms of, the coming and going, the daily operations of it, and from NASCAR series to some of your national touring guys to even some more of your local type field races.
yeah.
So, no, I don't know. At the end of the day, does anyone really ever have the right answer?
No, 100%.
So, you need it, but you don't, but you do, but you don't, but you want some, but you don't.
But you know what? It makes us tune in every week.
Absolutely does.
So,
All right.
want to jump into some news here? We got a good bit of them, and maybe some stuff that might generate some conversation here as well.
Yeah. So let's just go ahead and rip this off. There's a whole bunch of news in terms of actually what is going to go on here. As I'm looking on the list, we are forgetting one massive one. Um, so looking at the list here, Skyline Motorsports, they have tabbed Dale and Murdy to fill the vacant seat for their second car left by Mike Marlar. That crew will debut together at Speed Weeks in the spring of 2026. This is also noted with their new partnership with the AK race cars and their chassis. So, new driver, new chassis, new team getting ready in 2026. Full schedule to be determined yet. So, Dalen Murdy's been a star on the IMCA stock car side of things. So, um, be curious to see kind of how that shakes out and what they plan to do schedule wise. He's only 20 years old, so he's a little young gun yet here in terms of
Yeah.
the racing side of things. So, looking at some O'Reilly Auto Parts Series news. Wow, that's a mouthful. Uh, Josh Bilicki will not return to DGM Racing in 2026 as a part of their campaign. And it was announced not very shortly after that Josh Williams will return to DGM to fill the seat of the 92 on a multi year agreement. So you have uh, familiar faces joining familiar teams in part of as a part of the O'Reilly Auto Parts series.
Yep, back in familiar seats.
Speaking of some familiarity, Chevy, they have gone ahead and announced what their cup car will be. Basically a revamped ZL1.
Have you have you seen side by side photo comparisons of these cars?
Mm-mm.
Oh, brother. I mean, if I'm gonna be I at this point I might as well be blunt about it. At least from the nose perspective, they look like the same damn car.
See, and I said it's just, and somebody sent me the Instagram post. I was like, "Oh wow!" And I'm like, "Oh wow!" It's the same car with a different aero package.
Yeah. So I just yeah. Hey, you know what? Chevy had to do something. They went and did something.
And I can tell you what, we're putting on a new body. Wind tunnel time, we'll take it. Yeah, somebody's playing chess and someone's playing checkers, and we're gonna
Yep.
find out at Daytona
Yep.
who's doing what.
My God.
So yeah, when you look at it, very similar look, but yes, Chevy will run that ZL1 in the Cup Series in 2026. Talking a little dirt racing, MLRA, the Midwest Late Model Racing Association, as we know it, was defunct for a year. That series has been revived, and they will return to what's estimated to be a 20 to 24 race schedule under the ownership of Ernie Leftwich. Um, this will make the return of the Open Late Model Series, Open Motor Late Model Series. Their schedule is nearing completion. So expect them to have a schedule here in the next couple weeks or so. But another series makes a return, which is always good to know.
Yep.
This one comes with a little bit of controversy, and we will read this for what is factually known at the moment. Barry Braun, most notably known for his XR events. He was heavily involved in the Pennsboro Revival, also now owner of the Ogilvy Speedway. He has been arrested and being in the process is being extradited to West Virginia. That is what we know. We're leaving it at that.
I think we all know the discussion that's been held around that man in the XR events.
Kyle Strickler was not afraid to make it publicly known.
And he's not the first one to make it publicly known.
So if you're looking for more confirmed details of an actual interaction, there's your source.
Yep.
Do with that as you please. And kind of a little bit of another surprise, not surprise. Um, John Force, drag racer. It's something a little different for us, but just an absolute icon of motorsports, I think, collectively, has announced his retirement from driving following his wicked wreck. He is still working through the recovery process, which is being done under doctor supervision yet. So, um, was very quick to say, don't be surprised if you see me in the car in the burnout box or stage a car or be involved in the seat in some fashion. But his driving career has come to a close.
Yeah. Like you said, obviously an icon when it comes to the drag racing scene. I mean, everybody knows of John Force in the motorsports world,
Yep.
not only for just his personality, but what he's done in drag racing, his accomplishments as well. Um, been through a lot of injuries in his time and a lot of nasty wrecks. And God knows what's that done to his body over the years. And
Yeah. He just said he'll be in the car till the car kills him. And he just said this was maybe my
almost the
sign.
one.
Yeah, maybe my sign.
Yep.
So, and last one, and we were kind of following this one as we always like to do for this big event, the Snowball Derby. We were kind of looking at names and going, huh, that one's not on there. Uh, late entry. Ty Fredrickson joins the field. So the team 36 is going to head down to Pensacola here. That was announced on Sunday morning, I believe.
I think so.
Sunday morning or so. Sunday, Saturday, Sunday morning, either way. So he will take himself down to Pensacola. I'm going to glance really quick because I think there's one more that we forgot to mention that will be joining that field.
I
Yes,
know.
we did forget this one. Kyle Busch.
Yeah. Damn it.
We did forget to stick that note in there. How that's
Oh,
bad. That's bad on us. Again, and another surprise, Kyle Busch, Rowdy, Cup Series driver, he will head down to chase, I believe, his third Snowball Derby, correct?
I'm excited for that one.
So, yeah, the Cup Series presence grew significantly.
I'm excited for that one. Like
So,
Kyle Busch, the late model is just fun.
yep. So that was I was looking at the list. I'm like, do we really forget that one? We sure did.
Yep, sure did. Dang it.
Yeah. But anyhow, that's what I got for news for my notes of the week.
All right. I will jump in here. High Limit has announced their membership cards, as they're calling them, for the 10 race teams. Basically, these were these franchises that they had promised over the first two seasons. They have divided them out to the king, the ace, the king, the queen, joker, all the way down. Each card has its own value to it as well. And that can change as performance goes on for teams as well. So, um, pumping a ton of money into race teams that stick with them and perform well, but gives teams an opportunity to be able to earn more money as well as they perform throughout the years as well. So, High Limit doing a lot of great things as far as putting money back into the sport. Really looking forward to how that goes. If you want to see the full breakdown as far as money and kind of incentives go, check out either the Flow Sports article or High Limits website as well. They've got a lot more details as far as how that breaks down. But the gist of it is that Rico Abreu obviously he's got that high card with Brad Sweet Racing, or not Brad Sweet Racing, Case Kane Racing, and that Daisy Pursley car getting the second highest on that. So, um,
Yeah, talk about you want to talk about it's taken 2 years to kind of develop that charter type feel for his
yep.
teams, but you want to take care of the guys that take care of you, win a championship. Look at that check and go, oh yeah, I could get behind that.
Or just the hey, you stick with us for a number of years.
We'll make it right by you.
Yep, 100%. And that's only bound to grow here in the next few handful of years too. So,
Yep.
getting into some IndyCar news. Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan Racing, and Louis Foster have announced a multi-year contract extension. Um, and 2014 Indy 500 winner Ryan Hunter-Reay was announced that he will be driving a fourth Aaron McLaren car for the 2026 Indy 500. Most notably, that was the car and team that Larson had drove for the past 2 years. So Arrow McLaren will have their three normal drivers, and Hunter-Reay will be filling in that fourth car.
Yep.
So, um, talking about some big races, talking about the Daytona 500. Justin Allgaier and Junior Motorsports will be back to attempt the Daytona 500 in 2026. They'll have that number 40. Presumably, they will have that Traveler Whiskey car going as well. So probably will change it up, but looking forward to that. Obviously, they had a hell of a year last year, got in through the duel. Um, and had a decent run going. But always good to see a junior car of sorts in the Daytona 500.
Yep.
Speaking on some alliances and technical deals here, Jeremy Clements Racing announced that they will be aligning with Haas Factory Team in 2026 and will also be shifting over to Chevys as we go into next year for
Is,
the O'Reilly's Auto Parts Series. Um,
is Ford
Viking,
dead?
what's that?
Is Ford dead?
In the Xfinity? Brother.
That's two more cars. Sayonara.
Bye. Brother.
Oh,
Talk about a rough program.
correct.
Um, Speaking of alliances, Viking Motorsports, who recently signed, God damn it, who was it?
Parker Retzloff.
Parker Retzloff. Yes. Um, they will be having an alliance with RCR for next year. And if I remember right, this is most notably that alliance that Colleague left at the end of the year as well.
Bingo.
So
Scratch your head and wonder what's going on.
So, in more RCR news, they announced that Carson Brown, current driver in the ASA Stars National Tour, has signed a driver development program with them. Basically, just saying we're looking forward to seeing what the kid can do.
Yeah. Obviously, he's been very stellar with Anthony Campi in that super late model. He's been dirt late model racing. He's been TA2 racing. I mean, the dude wheels anything that's got four tires and a motor. So I'd be
Yep.
curious to see kind of what their plan and projection is for this young man.
Is this RCR kind of trying to do a Rick Hendrick thing and kind of get some guys before others do?
I, the game has changed that way, I think, and that's if you don't want someone else to get him, what do you got to do? You got to get him. All right,
Yep.
you're my development driver. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's our plan.
Yep.
Um, but I'd just be curious to see what that looks like for him climbing the ranks here a little bit, just because when you're looking at the top tier Chevy, there's not a lot of guys going a lot of places.
And also, RCR doesn't necessarily have his fingers in a lot of things outside of the Cup and O'Reilly series.
Is a lot of his guys are kind of well, could say in the next couple of years you start to have questions around Dillon and Bush, but for the next 2 or 3 years, they're kind of
Not really
grid.
going anywhere.
Yeah, they're kind of gridlocked.
Yeah. Even the Xfinity,
Yep,
Love and Hill.
yep.
So,
So we'll see.
yep. Um, Jumping back to the colleague side of things, um, more specifically Ram in this case, announced their free agent program. They kind of said that drivers from around the country are going to be invited to pilot a truck during the season. It'll have its own points format and crown a champion just based on that free agent program. Um, they have a email that you can inquire into in order to get yourself involved in this. I'd be curious on what their selection process is, though. Are we taking
Dude,
guys that
dude,
this
ain't nobody gonna be able to figure out what those boys got going on.
I don't know. So they also came out with hold on a sec, because they
You gotta
had a
remember, we're
list.
still we're still waiting for an announcement on that fourth full time truck.
Yeah, so we've got three full times, one to be announced, and then obviously um that free agent driver. So I hope this. Oh, I hope they use this, and I say hope in a big way. I hope they use this as an opportunity to show off guys that don't have money.
Yeah, I
Like,
could see it. Yep, like audition type.
yeah,
Yeah,
let a guy that doesn't have money have an opportunity to race.
I just don't want this to turn into a popularity thing
Correct.
because if you're gonna putz around and run 36th every week because you brought insert famous person in because they want a race, take a
Yeah,
hike. I don't know.
yeah. I'm going to be very intrigued on how that plays out. Um, we talk about bringing in famous people, and then we go on to this last news topic here. But this is one of my favorite things that I've seen here recently, that's been happening. Trackhouse announced that their Project 91 car is not dead. They're still interested in that project and are hoping to have a driver in that car next year. And they also said that they're going to try and expand their sponsorship with Red Bull. So I'd be intrigued if some current Red Bull guys in other disciplines might venture their way in.
Could very well see it.
But I do like that Project 91 just to bring in a couple of different other guys. Um, Obviously that was a uh the most notable one to come out of that was Shane Van Gisbergen and that whole how that spawned him coming into that organization. So
Yep.
brought it Castro Neves and Kimi Räikkönen and um I
Yeah.
thought they had one other one in there. But no, like I said, I feel like this is just a great opportunity to bring some others in.
Yeah, for sure.
So, um, I went through everything that I had earlier today, and that was all that I had as far as news topics go.
Yeah. And I think this kind of leads us to what's going to be a pour one out for this category this week. Pour one out for the missing soldier this week.
Oh, yeah,
The old wheel man.
yeah.
Can't give it
But
to the same guy back to back weeks, so we're just gonna shut her down for the
yeah,
week.
we're gonna axe her this week. Gets a little hard to choose a wheel man. Yeah,
So no wheel man for this week. If you got one that you want, you can. We're open for nominations, but we just kind of left her open for the week to see
yep,
go from there.
yep, for sure. So. Um, quick look ahead to the weekend that is. Um, USAC midgets are in action. I mentioned earlier in the podcast that the Wednesday show at Plaza Park Raceway has been canceled due to the rain.
Yeah.
Um, but they will be back in action on Friday. Yes, Friday. They'll be racing at Thunderbowl on Friday. Saturday and Sunday at Merced Speedway, um, again, in as they start to wrap up their season, uh, and then as the Cam would say, G1
Oh, they're back to Vegas.
Formula One is back at Vegas this weekend.
Is
So,
that the race? Remind me, is that the race that manhole absolutely wreaked havoc?
yes, but that would have been 2 years ago. But yeah, yes, same deal.
Gotcha. Yep.
So, and they're actually trying to look to extend that race or not extend the race, but extend the partnership to try and get the race there more years,
Gotcha.
extend their agreement. So
All right.
I'm gonna throw out a random thing here real quick. I don't think I sent this to you, which is probably a good thing, but it's a bad thing that I still have this saved in case I keep looking at this. Bill Balog's raffling off one of his fire suits.
Oh boy.
If you want to help a brother out,
Oh
um,
boy.
a guy that he definitely a lot he mentioned this at the Charlotte Dirt Track during one of the Wing Nation radio shows. A lot of their merchandise money goes towards the race program, so that's a driver that really appreciates fans' help. Um, $10 a spot, as many spots as you're wanting to buy for one of his fire suits.
$10 doesn't seem like a lot, but if you want a chance, you're gonna have to buy a couple spots probably.
So yeah, they'll have that open up until thanks or around Thanksgiving. They'll draw around then.
Gotcha.
So if you wanna buy a suit, go to Bill Balog's website or have a
Have a
chance to
chance.
get a suit.
Correct.
So I had to throw that in there,
Yeah, for sure.
help a brother out. So no race picks. Obviously, we're kind of in unfamiliar territory. I think we're gonna venture back into the race pick realm um at Derby and Dome,
Yep.
probably. Um, we'll probably venture back into Wheelman of the week, I should say, at that point as well. But we're always looking for nominations. And we continue on with our off-season topics as we go along here as well.
Yeah, next week will be a surprise episode because we're gonna figure that out this week.
Yeah,
And with a wedding on Saturday or Friday, that's gonna make the week of planning very interesting.
correct.
So stay tuned for what that may look like. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
surprise for everyone, us included.
correct. So, other than that, any other final thoughts here before we sign off for the evening?
No, races are slowing down, but they're just as prestigious as always. So if you have a chance to either get there and or stream them, please do.
Yep, 100%. So,
So
until until next time, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check us out on our socials. Um, Comment on anything as well. We're always looking for topics to talk about or drivers for Wheelman of the Week or just have a general conversation about stuff, anything. We're always happy to chat with you. Otherwise, until our surprise next week, once we figure something out, we'll see you on next week's episode of the Tuesday Track Talk.